Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be showing you Track 5 plugins tutorial. I'm going to be showing you what all the different plugins does and their different functions and their different stages that you're going to use them. So if you look into the software, this is Track 5 right here, and this is our audio section where we input our audio. Then if you look at the right, I'm just going to bring this in from the section. So if you look at the right here, you discover that there are 4 categories. So one of the category here is called dynamic, and the second category is equalizer. Equalizers, dynamics, equalizers, then reverb and delay, then possibly others as well. Okay. So in simple explanation, what does dynamics do? So in dynamics simply means, I'm going to show you what dynamic is. So this is my audio right here, and if you look into this audio, you discover that there are taller peaks. You see these taller audios versus the lower ones. You see these tall ones versus the lower ones. So the difference between these taller ones and these smaller ones and these lower sounds is called the dynamics. So you can see we have the loud sound and we have the less sounds. Okay, so this is the dynamics. And the reason why this particular tool was created dynamic is because the human ear likes to hear sounds that is balanced and straightforward. The human ear likes to hear sound that is balanced and straightforward. So if you have these dynamics in your mix, it's as if the sounds are just jumping around, that they are not consistent. And when they're not consistent, it will make the sound not very interesting to listen. So because of that, dynamic tool was developed to be able to manage this dynamic, so that this dynamic will be consistent. As you can see in this particular image, you discover that there are taller ones, there are short ones, there are taller ones. Now I'm also going to bring in a sound where this dynamic is consistent. I think I just go here and I will go to desktop. So this is Track tutorial. So if I bring this in this audio, you can see how this one is consistent. Can you see this particular sound is consistent? You can see almost all the peak are all the same. So this particular sound is treated with a dynamic tool. So dynamic tool helps you to reduce the taller ones and to merge it and to put it on the same level as to the taller ones. So you can see how consistent this one is. But if we go to the other one, you can see this particular dynamic are not consistent. So this is the reason why the dynamic tool is created. So what is a dynamic tool? These are all dynamics here, because of the taller ones and the shorter ones that are not in the same level. So the difference between the taller and the short and the smaller ones are called dynamic. So to manage the dynamic, we have to develop a dynamic tool. So what does a dynamic tool does? So on these dynamic categories, we call dynamics, they are all the same thing, but they have different interface. So I'm going to be showing you the different interface. For example, this particular one is a dynamic tool. So it helps to reduce the dynamic and put them into consistency. So this is just an example of a dynamic tool that help you manage dynamics. This is another one. So this is the dynamic tool, and so this dynamic gives you input. Input simply means increasing your loudness. That's what input means. Then we have the attack section. Attack simply means a kind of a filter that helps you manage your dynamic as well, and the release, which is the tail. Okay, this one controls your output. So in this dynamic category, all the different software, all the different tools that you find here are all for dynamics. So they all have different interface. So if you understand the use, how dynamic tools work, is the same principle in all the different music production software out there. No matter any music production software out there that we are using, compression or compressions, compressor tool does the same thing. The only thing you just need to do is to know the principle what compressor does. So no matter the ones you find, whether the interface are differences, like we have different interface here on dynamics. To control dynamics, we have this one. So but they all do the same thing. You can see we have the same input, just we have input. This one is called gain. We have gain reduction here, we have attack, we have ratio. So although with little difference in feature, they are all for the same purpose, to manage your dynamics. So this is what dynamic tool does, to help you to manage to help you to manage and to control these different dynamics. So compressor tools or dynamic tools are tools that are used to level and to manage your dynamic. Then the next tool we're going to go is your equalizer. So what is an equalizer tool? So if we come to this category, the equalizer section here, you see we have different forms of equalizer. Okay, so this is an equalizer tool. We have different form of equalizer. So this equalizer, what does equalizer does? Equalizer help tool is to manage frequency. For example, let me play this sound for you.
Sugar cane sweet, but you are ticking all my boxes. You can take it, whatsoever that you want. I try to shoot my shots, but you they put me on this combi. Girl, I'm falling. Can you catch?
So this is actually sound.
Go,
so take for example like this sound. Now there is a problem with this. Let's assume I want brightness on this sound. What I simply do, I want the voice to be bright. I will just come here to the high end here and I will increase.
falling for you, girl.
So what equalizer tool is to manage your frequencies. So we have three main bands of frequency. We have the low end, we have the mid, and the high frequency. And these frequencies, these three frequencies complete the complete sounds that you hear in your ear. So we have the mid here, we have the low. So the low is the bass region. So you see, the more I increase, the more your bass gets. So for example, I'm analyzing this particular sound now, and I discover that my bass is not punchy enough. All I simply do is to bring in an EQ tool, and I just go to the bass section to add us some bass so that it will be thicker. So let's also take for example that this particular job is not bright enough, and I want it to be bright so that we can be hearing the lyrics very well. All I simply do is to just come to the high end here. I'll just play. Then imagine that the mid frequency is not that. I'll just come here to increase. So an EQ tool is the same everywhere. They are built to do the same thing, to add, to remove from frequencies. So if you are analyzing your audio, for example, you're mixing or you have an audio, whether your vocal, your beat, anything you are doing as far as sound is concerned, and you discover that there is a certain frequency that is not available, even if the frequency is there, it could be very low or it could be very high. All you simply do is to grab an equalizer tool, right? So if, for example, like this particular project now I'm doing, and the high end is very low and I need to hear the high end, all I simply do is to bring this tool to add to it. But if, for example, if the high end may be very high, all I simply do is to bring it down. For example, the high end of this, let's assume after the high end of this mix is very high and I want it to be warm, to be dull. All I simply do is to grab the EQ tool and I bring it down. So I'm going to be experimenting different EQ for you to see what I'm talking about. So this is one of the EQ I just experiment, and I'm bringing another EQ in. So this is another that I'm going to bring in. This is the mid. This is the low mid. So you can see basically all EQ are designed to do the same thing, to manage your frequency, to add, to remove frequency and all that. So in this equalizer category, no matter how the design is, they are all the same thing. So I'm just going to bring in another one for you to see. For example, I'm bringing in this. So I'm going to experiment this. So you can see they are all for the same time. I'm going to remove some frequency. So if you want to add input, if your input or maybe input energy is not enough, just to add loudness, so you can see. So I'm demonstrating all the different EQ. So every EQ on this category, they are of different shapes, but they all are designed to do the same thing. So if you are using any dial of your favorite choice, like the dial you like, there are also EQ in that dial. So in that particular music production software, so all EQ are designed on the same principle to manage, to add, to remove frequencies. So like I explained before, the dynamic tool is for you to manage your dynamics. Okay, so I'm just going to demonstrate for the dynamic to show you how it works, how you can use it to reduce your dynamics. So I'm just going to bring it this one. So you see the store dynamics here. Okay, so so this particular tool has a built-in threshold, so that particular threshold is what we start reducing this your dynamic once we activate it. So there's a meter here. So this meter here is a gain reduction. What is gain reduction? If by the time this particular tool has begun to remove some of this store frequency, you will see the amount is removed here. So we have -24 to -0 dB. So any amount of dynamics that this particular tool is removing, is bringing down, then it's going to be showing you the amount of frequency. So let's demonstrate it right now. So right now it's reducing about 5 dB. So which means this frequency right here, this dynamic right here, this particular tool is reducing about 5. So the more you push forward to hit the threshold, the more dynamic it reduces. So this particular attack and release heavier frequency to more of your dynamics to be able to go through to create flexibility in your sound and release time as well. Okay, so this is your output, your loudness. So after you finish maybe managing your input, what you simply do is to give in a little to meet up to the same level. So I'm going to also bring in another limiter, another dynamic tool. So this is another dynamic tool. It does the same thing. So you now have the meter here, just the same meter we have on the other one, that will show you how many dB is reducing. This is another type of meter. It's also labeled gain reduction. We have input ratio. We also have attack. Then we have an equalizer tool here. This one has a little another feature built in, an equalizer tool, which is high pass frequency. So high pass frequency simply means it helps you manage your bass frequency here, to help roll off some bass frequency. And we're just going to experiment that. I'm going to remove this not to create effect. So you can see this one is already active. It's already reducing about 5 dB. So if I bring the input downward to hit the threshold, so I'm going to give it output. So guys, so this is how all compressors work. So on this dynamic category, these are all different compressor interface. They all look different because of little features. Some of them can come with equalizer, some of them can come with inbuilt limiter, some of them can just come with little feature that is different. This is also another compressor tool, another dynamic tool. So you can see, so here's left and right meter that will show you how many dB is working on. So why does it has 2 of them? So if you go to our dynamic here, you discover that we have double channel, which is left and right, which is left and right dynamic. That is why you have this meter that will show you what is happening on both sides of the signal. Okay, so right now, so you can see, so definitely it's just reducing basically -2 dB. So the more we increase the compression, which the threshold is already built in, it's going to be reducing more dB, cutting down some of these frequencies. Okay, maybe I need the thing we go come here on here. Ọmọ tó rẹwà báyìí, fẹ́mi wọn ní kó tẹ by your side. Anything for you, girl, I don't mind.
Leave me to figure it out on my own. Anywhere you take be my comfort zone. Baby, when you come close, I dey try compose. So make I tell you, yeah. Falling.
So as you can see, this particular one is reducing about 3 dB. So this is the threshold, right? So the more I increase the threshold,
maybe I need the thing we go come here, honey. Ọmọ tó rẹwà báyìí, kẹ́mi wá ní kó dé by your side. Anything for you. Come close, I dey try compose. So make I tell you, yeah. Falling for you, baby, call me back. Honey, honey, pressing we go, call me honey, yeah. Falling for you, girl. Maybe I need nothing we go, call me honey, yeah. Sugar cane.
So guys, so this is another compressor, and this is exactly how it works. So this is your compression, bringing it down. This is your threshold, your attack, your release, and so this is another compressor. These are it works, and this work for your dynamic. So these are all dynamic too. Okay, so all dynamic too are designed on the same principle to help you manage your dynamic in your mix, right? So these are all just all of, so anyone you bring in, they are all the same, guys. They are all the same. They just have different interfaces. So this another one is the same. So this is your gain reduction meter, just what we have on this one. So these are different meter, but they are all work to do the same thing. So you can see it's already pulling down just the way this one is pulling backward. Okay, so the more I increase my threshold, so this particular dynamic tool is a 4-band 1, 2, 3, 4. We have the high mid, we have the mid, the high, the low, high mid, then another is the bass, another. So this is 4-band tool. Okay, we have this your ratio, we still have the attack, the release, the gain. So the more input, so work on the same different band individually. If you want to work on only high end, all you simply do is to work on
falling for you, girl. Maybe I need that.
So on the 4-band 1, 2, 3, 4. So this meter here represents the 4-band 1, 2, 3, 4. So the 4-band is actually reducing about 0 to 3.
For you, girl.
So this band is for the bass, for the mid bass, mid range, and the high.
For you, girl.
So this is your output.
Falling for you, girl. I need to come here, honey, yeah. Ọmọ tó rẹwà báyìí, kẹ́mi wá no go dey by your side. Anything for you, you want to mine.
So guys, this is basically how the dynamic tool work. They are all the same thing. They are all the same thing. So they work on the same principle. So whether they are much, don't allow the numbers there. So they just bring a different option with different little adjustments on how they work and know when to use them. So basically, the dynamic tool is for you to manage the dynamic of your audio to make it consistent. Okay, so the consistency is to make it like this so that your audio do not fly around. Okay, so that is what this tool is for. So by the time you're able to use this tool and you render and export your audio, what you're going to find is your dynamic will now be like this. Okay, and it will now be consistent, and once it is consistent, your audio will sound very fine. So the next on the category is reverb and delay. So in this particular category, we have a reverb tool here / delay. So the two of them are for space. And what really happened is, if you want to add a natural space like echo in your mix to give it more flavor and background, all you simply do is to come choose any of this. So these are all different tools. They have different interface. They look differently, but they all do the same thing with little tweak. So I'm just going to bring in this one for you to see. So this is a reverb tool. So for example, you just want to add an echo, which is a natural environment in your mix to make it look fine and beautiful. What you simply do is to grab an equalizer, a reverb tool. Just come to the mix button. This mix button helps you to add more. You can see the percentage reading here. I'll come back. So you can see the way it sounds very lush and beautiful. So if I remove it totally, you can see it's very soundy, very dry and harsh. So if you just want to contain it and remove a little harsh sound, you just little mix, let's say 50%. So it makes the sound more gentle. So if you can see here, this particular whole reverb comes with a little modification. It comes with equalizer. So you can see, so this just helps to adjust the equalizer and add some frequencies that you want. So these are diffusion. So this is basically how the equalizer works, just to add flavor. So I'm going to bring in another equalizer too. So this is another equalizer too. You can see basically it's the same thing. Okay. I'm just going to remove this one. Falling for you, girl. Maybe I need nothing we go sugar cane sweet. So guys, it's the same thing, just the same thing. So these are extra button time, reverb, color. What you basically do is just to come here, level, mix, just to come here. So add the little amount that you want to add and it just beautify your mix. So little is what is better. So if you come here again, this is another one. I'm just going to bring in another one. So guys, you can see it's the same thing. So you can see all the buttons are just what? The same. They are basically the same, okay? So depending the one you want to use and the one you like best, and just tweak the amount that you want. That's just it. So reverb tool is just to add beauty to add natural spacing to your mix. So we have reverb here. Is reverse reverb, this split reverb, so and all that. So just to modify your frequency, be different the flavor you're going to get. So they all are reverb too. Then we'll now have a little delay echo mix, which is a delay plugin. So this is just to add delay to your mix. So this particular echo here, just going to give it your tempo. I'm just going to adjust another tempo like this. So you can see that little flavor of delay on the background. So this also helps to add little echo of delay time to add more beauty to your mix, okay? So you have volume A, button A, and button B. So the button B and A simply represent the two signal that you have here, the first track and the second track, which is your left and right speaker. So when you're using the button A, you are adding effect to this first sound. When you're using button B, you're adding effect to this second sound. So when you pull down, like I pull down button B, which means I've totally remove effect from this second sound. Since my button A is active, it means that only this sound is affected, okay? So but for the purpose of balancing, you're just going to add the two. So the same amount you add, this 1.5, I'm also going to add 1.6 here, 1.6, 1.6, and it for you, leave me to figure it out on my own. Anywhere you take me, my comfort zone. So this is a sustain button to give it a lengthy mix. For you, leave me. So I think it would be more appropriate if I use it on this sound. Let me get it right here. So it's mostly used if you want to use it on your beat. So I think this is your echo time. Means the tempo of this particular audio should be, I think should be 100. Then just type in here, put the tempo of the track 100. You can see automatically has fit into 100. So you can see that flavor that is happening on the background. You can as well adjust. So if you have a sound that is just too distinct, for example, I'm going to remove it. and your fade is too straightforward. So when you have a sound that is just too straightforward and you want to put a little background to it to give it that flavor, you just simply do just to add a little effect. I'm going to put 1.5 here. I'm just going to also put 1.5 here for the both track. So this is a very fine flavor. You can also choose any other delay tempo to give it another flavor. So if you have T-Rack installed in your system, you can as well use this beautiful tool, and this particular tool mimics an analog tool, which means machines of those days that is used to process sounds, and that is why you see the beauty is just out there, and it gives you another flavor. This flavor actually make it more musical for people to enjoy. Okay, so this is what the equalizer tool is used for, though the equalizer tool here is a little bit minimal. So this is what it's used for. So all delay and reverb tool is for you to add beauty and sense of natural space to your mix to give it that lush and beautiful sounding. Okay, so and they all do the same thing. So no matter the color, so no matter the software you are using, all reverb and delay are built on the same principle. They are all built on the same principle. The only thing, you just get familiar with the different knobs and when to add and when to remove, and you get your result done. Then we'll now go to the orders. So on orders here, when I have a mix on orders here, we also have a mix of a dynamic tool, which is I'm just going to remove this. We have a dynamic tool here to treat your dynamic. Then we have mic room. Then we have dithering imaging. So this is 4 band, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what this one actually does is to widen your mix, to help your mix. If you want to widen the bass area, that's just do that. If you want to link all of them together to give you space in your mix, you just link all, which means you have link all the band together. Okay, the 4 band, you link all of them together. You see all of them are going all together. Leave me to figure it out on my own. Anywhere you take. So you can see how it widens. You can see how it goes both sides. It just widens left and right. So that's tell you how it widens the frequency for them to have space in between. Okay. For you, girl, I don't mind. Leave me to figure it out on my own. Anywhere you take be my comfort zone. Baby, when you come close, I dey try compose. So make I tell you, yeah, falling for you, falling for you. So it's just basically what this one does to help create space in your mix. Okay. Then we have a saturator. So a saturator just add more harmonics to your mix. We have tape 1 saturator. So what saturator actually does is, when during the time of your mix, you may have removed some unwanted frequencies. So to make your sound fuller, make your sound full and have high quality. So this particular tool simply add more harmonics. I'm just going to demonstrate it right here. For you, girl, I don't mind. Leave me to figure it out on my own. So if you notice, you discover that if I put it upward, for you, girl, I don't. So this particular one is clearer and it's more puncher. If I put it downward, for you, girl, I don't mind. Leave me to figure it out on my own. So what actually does is to add more frequency to all the different frequency band, to your low end, to mid end, and the high end. Okay, so this different tape are different frequency range. So this particular knob here is called gain. Gain simply means to add more to your mix. Then this is just the output. So this one is automatically automated, so you can actually disconnect it through that button. So when you put in the button, it means that you automatically, so the more gain, you can see the more gain input, the more output it reduces. So the less gain, then the more input it gives out. Okay, so this is how it works, and you can use them individually. Okay, you're link them together. So depending the kind of harmony you want to add to your mix, so these are different buttons. They have tape 1 harmony, have tape 2, tape 3 master 1, 2, 3 classic A push. So depending the one you find very interesting, you just put it. For you, girl, I don't mind. Leave me to figure it out on my own. So some of these harmonic, some of them may add more to your bass, your mid, or so depending the one that fits well to your project, you just use. So adding harmony is very, very cool. It makes your mix sound fuller, big, and thick. Okay. For you, girl, I don't mind. Leave me to figure it out on my own. Anywhere you take be my comfort zone. Baby, when you come close. And to frequency, to stabilize and to manage, to stabilize and to manage, to stabilize and to manage, to you stabilize and to manage, to stabilize, you stabilize and to manage, to stabilize, you stabilize and to manage, to stabilize your dynamics, manage, to stabilize your dynamics, manage, to stabilize your dynamics, manage, to stabilize your dynamics. Okay, I think you lies your dynamics. Okay, I think you lies your dynamics. Okay, I think you lies here, dynamics. Okay, I think your dynamics is here, dynamics. Okay, I think your dynamics is here, dynamics. Okay, I think your dynamics is here to stabilize your K. I think your dynamics is here to stabilize your K. I think your dynamics is here to stabilize your K. I think your dynamics is here to stabilize your, and that's what dynamic X is here to stabilize your, and that's what dynamic X is here to stabilize your, and that's what dynamic X is here to stabilize your, and that's what dynamic tool. So then to stabilize your, and that's what dynamic tool. So then to stabilize your, and that's what dynamic tool. So dynamic tools are usually like compressor, limiter, clipper. So they are all doing the same thing. Then reverb is for you to have a sense of space to your mix, add color, and that. So we have others where we have saturator, a saturator, and imaging. Imaging is just to add space to your mix. So basically, I'm just going to demonstrate the mixing and mastering of this particular project, though it's just for demonstration purpose, to show you how you use these different tools individually. Now I have a dynamic problem on this particular mix. I'm just going to remove all the different tool for you to see the difference. So now this is my tool. So I want to add more brightness to this particular mix. So all I simply do is to go to Equalizer, and I'm going to bring in an Equalizer too. So anyone I grab is the same thing, but I'm just going to grab this as preference. Before, after. So I'm just going to roll off, you see, cut off some excessive frequency out there. So you can see the difference. Now my mix is bright. Now the second problem I have is the dynamic. I have excessive dynamic, and I want to roll off some of this dynamic. So all I simply need to do is to bring in what? A dynamic tool. Okay. So in this dynamic tool, I'm going to bring in compressor. Okay. So this compressor is already active, and it's already reduced minus 5 dB. Minus 5 dB from the dynamic. Okay. So let's say I will be leaving it at 5 dB. Remember, little is highly effective. I'm going to put the gain back. So now I'll be able to treat the dynamic. So I'm going to bring in so what next? I'm going to bring in a maximizer, which is limiter, to give it my final volume out there. So I'm going to bring in this limiter right here. I'm going to put the attack to allow more frequency to pass through.
Maybe I need the thing we go come here. Tell me wanna go stay by your side. Anything for you, yeah.
So my limiter is also giving out minus 5 dB, which in total, so I'm having up to 9 RMS. So before, after.
Falling for you, girl. Maybe I need the thing we go come here, honey. Tell me wanna go stay by your side. Any
before,
honey,
after.
honey.
So guys, this is just basically the choices that you made on how to master your mix. And another thing is always look out for the RMS. When you have up to 8, 9, 10 RMS, then you have enough loudness in your mix.
Honey, person we go call me honey. Falling for you, girl.
So the next thing I'm going to do is just to export this mix, and I'm going to show you the end result. I'm going to click export, go to D-Train, let's say this is the artist. So I'm just going to type it to tutorial. So I'm going to export the mix. I'm going to bring this mix back in here to show you how it is. Okay guys, this mix has done exporting, so I'm just going to go there. So I'm just going to bring in this one. So this is our mix here. Let me play it.
Falling for you, baby, come in.
So I'm just going to put it in here. So guys, this is the result, as you can see. So you see how consistent it is, right? So this is our final result, and this is the very good loudness. So when you play this on your public show and distribute this, so this is your final result. You can see how consistent it is. So with the help of this dynamic tool, by giving you that gain reduction, it was able to manage the dynamic. And with the help of the equalizer tool, I'm able to get my brightness. And with the help of the limiter tool, I'm able to give it the final loudness to my mix. Okay, this is the result.
Falling for you, girl. Maybe I
want you to follow this tutorial step by step. Make sure you subscribe to this channel for more videos, and do well to join our Telegram free class where we post regular videos on music production. So the next video promises to be very educating, so make sure you watch the next video. So see you guys in the next video.
falling for you, girl. Maybe I need nothing we go for me. Sugar cane sweet. Falling for you, girl. Maybe I need nothing we go for me. Sugar cane sweet, but you are